डेव्हलप होत आहे का, हे प्रोसेसला आपण काय म्हटलं, व्हेरिफिकेशन प्रोसेस म्हटलं. आणि व्हॅलिडेशन प्रोसेस मध्ये केलं काय, वेदर अवर ऍप्लिकेशन इज वर्किंग ऍज पर अवर एक्सपेक्टेशन ऑर नॉट, राईट. त्याच्यामध्ये आपण व्हॅलिडेट केले की कुठे आपलं ऍप्लिकेशन हे एक्झॅक्टली वर्क करत आहे किंवा नाही. तर या प्रोसेसला आपण काय म्हटलं, व्हॅलिडेशन प्रोसेस म्हटलं, सिंगल पार्ट. ओके. So in the verification process, we are doing in a single way or linear way testing. That means we are only verifying the things, so that it's called as the static testing. In that we are only going into the one direction. That means how the progress will be going on. So it is called as the static testing. In the dynamic testing, we can check dynamically providing the inputs to the application so that we can validate the application. In that we can check whether our application is working correctly or not. So that validating process is called as the validation process or the dynamic testing process, right? So this is the all about the fish model. Now we are moving forwardly towards the different सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलपमेंट मॉडेल्स. ओके. आता आपल्याला काय पाहायचं आहे की आपलं सॉफ्टवेअर कशा प्रकारे डेव्हलप होतं किंवा कुठल्या कुठल्या व्हेरियस मेथडॉलॉजीज आपल्याला यूज कराव्या लागतात ऍज पर आवर रिक्वायरमेंट. आपल्या रिक्वायरमेंट नुसार म्हणजे कस्टमरच्या रिक्वायरमेंट नुसार आपल्याला काय करावं लागतं की वी नीड टू डेव्हलप द सॉफ्टवेअर इन द different ways or in the different by using the different methodologies. So in our software industry there are the famous three type of the models which are the very popular to develop the any software. Okay. So that आपल्याला एखादं सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलप करायचं आहे तर ते सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलप करत असताना आपण कुठल्या प्रकारे ते सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलप करणार आहोत, तर त्यासाठी आपल्या इंडस्ट्रीमध्ये व्हेरियस मॉडेल्स आहेत की आपल्या रिक्वायरमेंट ते दॅट्स डिपेंड अपॉन द विच टाइप ऑफ द रिक्वायरमेंट. फर्स्टली आहे की आपण आपल्या ऍप्लिकेशन बनवत असताना आपण कुठल्या टाइपचे ऍप्लिकेशन बनवणार आहोत, कुठल्या टाइपचे इनपुट्स आहेत आणि त्याचं डिलिव्हरी कस्टमरला कसं मिळायची आहे किंवा आपल्याला कशी प्रोव्हाइड करायची आहे. आफ्टर दॅट डिस्कशन विथ द कस्टमर we need to decide the which particular methodology or which particular method we are using to develop the particular software, right. एखादा सॉफ्टवेअर बनवण्यासाठी तुम्हाला किंवा आपल्याला कुठल्या गोष्टीची कुठली मेथडॉलॉजी यूज करायची आहे हे कशावरती डिपेंड करतं की टाइप ऑफ द सॉफ्टवेअर. एक आहे टाइप ऑफ द सॉफ्टवेअर, सेकंड विच टाइप ऑफ द इनपुट्स दे आर प्रोव्हाइडिंग, ते कुठल्या प्रकारचे इनपुट्स आपल्याला प्रोव्हाइड करणार आहेत आणि त्यांना डिलिव्हरी कधीपर्यंत पाहिजे किंवा डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द डिलिव्हरी. दॅट मीन्स त्यांना कशी डिलिव्हरी पाहिजे की मंथली पाहिजे, क्वार्टरली पाहिजे, इयरली पाहिजे, 6 मंथली पाहिजे. डिपेंडिंग अपॉन दॅट फॅक्टर we need to select the different types of the methodologies. So methodology is nothing but that so which process we are using to develop any software. Okay. तर एखादी एक प्रोसेस आहे ज्या प्रोसेसचा वापर करून आपण एखादं सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलप करणार आहोत. बिकॉज by using that particular methodology we need to develop the software, we need to deliver the software, we need to adjust the which type of the things we can do at the which time, right. So depending upon that factor there are the multiple modules or multiple methodologies available into the market. So there are the three main methodologies which are popular into the software industry. That is called as the first is the waterfall model, second one is the V model, and the last one is the agile methodology. These three methodologies mostly used in the software industry to develop the software. Okay. So what is the methodology, sir? So methodology is the process where we can develop any software depending upon the requirement of the customer. ओके. तर कस्टमरच्या रिक्वायरमेंट वरती डिपेंड राहून किंवा विच टाइप ऑफ द रिक्वायरमेंट प्रोव्हाइडिंग द कस्टमर टू द सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलपमेंट कंपनी, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन दॅट we need to select the which particular methodology we are using to develop the software. Okay. So how we can select that, sir? How we can select that which methodology we are using? So we can discuss with the customer and finalize that which type of the methodology we are using to develop the particular software. If the customer want that particular software in the early stage, right. कस्टमरला काय पाहिजे की त्यांना कंटिन्युअस एनहान्समेंट करायची आहे, राईट. त्याच्यामध्ये त्यांना रोजच्या रोज अपडेट्स करायचे आहेत. दे वॉन्ट टू हँडल द ऍप्लिकेशन डायनामिकली, सो दॅट ऍट दॅट टाइम they need to daily updation in the software, right? They want to provide the monthly improvement to the end user. At that time we are using the one type of the methodology. If the customer want the delivery after some days, right, after 3 months, after 6 months, they don't want to enhancing the software multiple times, or on the daily basis or some like that. So ज्यावेळेस कस्टमरला एखादं सॉफ्टवेअर रोजच्या रोज अपडेट नाही करायचं आहे, किंवा त्यांची डिलिव्हरी असं मंथली नाही ठेवायची आहे, किंवा अर्ली स्टेजमध्ये त्यांना डिलिव्हरी नाही पाहिजे आहे, तर त्या केसमध्ये आपण एखादं कुठली मेथोडॉलॉजी वापरणार सर, तर ती मेथोडॉलॉजी आपण डिस्कस करतो. सो डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ द कस्टमर, after that discussing we need to finalize that which methodology we are using to develop any software. Okay sir, so how so one by one we can understand the different methodologies which are present in the industry, like waterfall model, B model, and the agile process. And after that we can understand that what is the main differences between that different models. Okay, so firstly we go towards the waterfall model. Firstly go towards the waterfall model. So what is the waterfall model? The name it indicates. कोणाला काय आयडिया आहे याच्यामधून काही कळतंय वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल म्हणजे काय? एक नाव, अंदाजा.
Flow process.
The flow, how it works.
Okay.
A linear process.
Process is going to the downwards.
One-way process.
Continuous flow like a waterfall.
Stepwise
Process.
Okay.
एक वेळा समोर
आपण चेंजेस करू शकत नाही.
नाही येणार असं.
Okay, so the name it indicates that the flow will be look like a waterfall. Okay, the flow will be look like a waterfall. What is waterfall behavior, or what is natural behavior of waterfall? Yeah, so in the waterfall we can see that once one drop of the water is downward, going toward the downwards, that not comes upwardly, right? Reversible process असते का waterfall मध्ये, की धबधब्यावरचं पाणी खाली पडतंय आणि पुन्हा वापस वरती येतंय, अशी काही प्रोसेस असते का?
No,
No sir.
No sir. Correct. So similar to that, by referring that process, okay, so by referring that process, or by observing that behavior of the water going from one sided, right, from one type single line flow, right, not a bidirectional flow, so that its name suggested as a waterfall. Okay, so waterfall model is a model which is used in the industry to develop the software. So the name, why the name itself indicate that, this is the linear process. That means in that we are going one by one, means step by step in the one direction only. We are not able to reverse back or back to the previous stages of our work. So that it's called as the waterfall model. So whenever we are developing any software by using the waterfall model, which things will be considered? जेव्हा आपण एखादं सॉफ्टवेअर वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल युजिंग डेव्हलप करत असतो, तर काय असतं सर वॉटरफॉल मॉडेलचा वापर करतो म्हणजे आपण काय करतो सर? त्याच्यामध्ये काही स्टँडर्ड आहेत का, त्याचा काही प्रोसिजर आहे का, त्याच्या वेज आहेत का सर? येस सर. सो वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल इज अ लिनियर सिक्वेन्शियल मॉडेल. ओके, काय आहे? लिनियर सिक्वेन्शियल मॉडेल. इन दॅट वी आर डेव्हलपिंग our software in a one direction only. Okay, we are developing our software in a linear process. So we know that there are the different stages available into the SDLC process. आपल्याला माहिती आहे की SDLC प्रोसेस मध्ये डिफरंट स्टेजेस आहेत. कुठले कुठले स्टेजेस आहेत? क्विकली जयेश.
Information gathering.
Right, information
Analysis.
Analysis, design, coding,
Design, coding, maintenance.
testing, maintenance.
Okay,
Analysis.
analysis, design, coding.
Maintain.
Okay, so we know that there are the different stages in the Okay, so there are the different stages available into the SDLC model. Okay, जेव्हा आपण एखादा application develop करत असतो, so we need to go from that phases, right? To develop any application, ह्या phases मधून आपल्याला जावंच लागतं. But sir, whenever we are using the waterfall model, that means we are executing these steps, right? These steps one by one. Okay, one by one. In that, we are going from information gathering to analysis phase once that particular phase will be completed. Okay, आपण कधी जातो इथे information gathering to analysis phase ला, once we are completing the task related to the this phase. information gathering चे जोपर्यंत task complete होत नाही तोपर्यंत आपण analysis phase ला move होत नाही. So this is the linear sequential flow like that. Okay, linear म्हणजे काय तर in one directional. Okay, it's a step by step. So आपण काय म्हटलं, it's a waterfall model. So it is a linear sequential model. In that the each stage started with completing with the previous stage. That means once we are completing the process related to the information gathering phase, then and then only we are able to go towards that step. Okay, go towards that analysis phase. Okay, so once that all the functionalities will be completed in the information gathering phase, then and then only we are starting the analysis phase. When we start the design phase, once all the processes will be completed in the analysis phase, then and then only we are going towards the design phase. Okay, when we going towards the coding phase, once we are completing the task related to all the design process, then and then only we are starting the coding phase. Okay, that means we are starting each phase, each new phase once previous phase will be completed, then and then only we are starting the new phase of our development process. Okay, एखादा सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलप करत असताना आपण जोपर्यंत पहिला फेज कंप्लीट होत नाही तोपर्यंत आपण दुसऱ्या फेजला मूव्ह होत नाही. ह्या प्रोसेसला काय म्हटलेलं आहे, इट्स अ लिनियर सिक्वेन्शियल प्रोसेस. Okay, so in the waterfall model we are going linearly. That means we are going linearly. So the process will be started once the previous stage will be completed. The next step will be started of the software development. Without completing the design phase, we are not starting the coding phase. Once the design phase will be complete, that all the process related to the design process will be complete, then and then only we are starting the new phases. Okay, so the waterfall model is the linear sequential model. Whenever anyone asks what is the waterfall model, at the time you need to say that it is the linear sequential model used to develop any software. In that the process of any stage will be started once the previous stage will be completed. जर आपण कधी स्टार्ट करतो, जेव्हा आपली प्रिव्हियस स्टेज कंप्लीट होत नाही तोपर्यंत आपण नेक्स्ट स्टेप स्टार्ट नाही करत. Okay, in the waterfall model we are not able to go back to the previous stage. In the waterfall model हम क्या नहीं कर सकते, previous stage पे मूव नहीं कर सकते, because we have invested our time into that particular phase. जब तक ये फेज कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ था तब तक हम यहाँ पे नहीं आए थे. सो वॉट एवर वी नीड रिक्वायर्ड दैट विल बी कंप्लीटेड ड्यूरिंग द सेम फेज. Once you are done with that one first phase, then and then only you are able to start the new phase. So we are not able to go back to the previous stage in the waterfall model. If we are missing anything in the software development process, at that time we need to wait for to the next releases. Okay, we need to wait for to the next releases, because sir in waterfall model we are going linearly. Yes, we are going linearly. We are not going in the randomly, or we are not going in the पाणी कसं वरतून खाली आल्यानंतर खालतून वरती जातं का, नाही. So we are following this way to development of the software. So it is called as the waterfall model, because we are not able to go back to the previous stage. If we are missing something in the process, at that time we need to wait for to the next release, because in the same release we are not providing that changes. Okay, we are not providing the changes related to that particular software development process. Okay, so in the waterfall model we are going in the linearly, in the sequentially, step by step. We are moving step by step. Once the information gathering done, we are going towards the analysis phase. Once the analysis phase will be done, we are going towards the design phase. Once the design phase will be done, we are going towards the coding phase. Once the coding phase will be done, we are going towards the testing phase. Once the testing will be done, we are going towards the maintenance phase. So these are the various stages involved. These are the various stages involved into the software development process. So this is the linear sequential way to develop the software. In that, we are not able to go to the previous stage. Once we are completed that stage, we are not able to go back to the previous stage. So that it's called as the waterfall model. So that it's called as the waterfall model. Okay. In the waterfall model, we are not able to go back to the previous stage. Okay. So this is the waterfall model. In that, the duration of the waterfall model to develop one release is 3 months. To develop any software or to module, that will be done within the 3 months. The duration the duration of to develop any software, or we need to release that software into the 3 months. After each 3 months, we need to deploy the changes from to the our UAT to the, or in the development process to the production environment. We are deploying the changes whenever we are using the waterfall model. At that time, we are delivering that changes to the customer after 3 months. Okay. आपल्याला माहिती आहे आपले various stages आहेत software development च्या DIT, SIT, UAT. So we are developing a software in the 3 months and delivering that software after the 3 months to the customer. Okay. So that we require the 3 months time in the waterfall model. So how we can work in the waterfall model, sir? So in the waterfall model, we are going linear sequential way. Once the previous stage will be complete, that and then only we are starting to the next stage. We are not able to go back to the previous stage, so that it's called as the waterfall model. Anyone have any questions still here?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, we will decide that which model we are going to follow for the software, that fish model or waterfall model.
Yeah.
Is it dependent on the company's policies?
Yeah, it's depending upon the company policies. Whenever the customer comes with some requirement at the initial level, okay, at that time they will be discuss about that which type of the software they want. If they are looking towards the banking domain project, or there's a telecom domain, it's a healthcare domain, which type of the domain. And in that discussion, they can discuss about that when they want that particular software, how they want to be developed that particular software, right? So which type of the requirement they are providing. Depending upon that, we can discuss with the customer, and if customer has the knowledge about that software development process, at that time they can decide that we are using this model like waterfall model, V model, or the agile processes. If the customer does not understand or does not know about how to develop the software or any software development process, at that time, depending upon the customer requirement, the company will be decide that which model we are preferring for to particular software. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Hello,
Sir, one more question.
hello, sir.
Yeah, one by one. Yeah, please complete your question.
Okay, sir, in the waterfall model, as we learned that it is a unidirectional flow model, then if we found any bug in the testing phase, then we can't revert the process to the coding phase.
Yeah, I will come to that point. Okay. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
If the customer's requirements changes, and in a waterfall models, SIK one by one more stages
Yes.
Then
so in the
क्या होता है?
waterfall, yes, in the waterfall model, we are not accepting the change requests. Okay, we are not accepting the change request. Once we have started working onto the one requirement, at that time we need to complete that requirement only one release. If the customer want to change the requirement during the any phase of the software development, okay, अब हम क्या कहाँ पे है, coding phase पे है, और कस्टमर का क्या बोलना है कि उन्हें उसमें थोड़ा सा चेंजेस चाहिए. ओके, सपोज वी आर डेवलपिंग सॉफ्टवेयर रिलेटेड टू द लॉगिन पेज and they provided previously the requirement. ओके, त्यांनी काय केलेलं आहे, पहिले रिक्वायरमेंट आपल्याला प्रोव्हाइड केलेले आहेत. त्या रिक्वायरमेंट प्रोव्हाइड केल्यानंतर आणि आपण काय केलेले आहे, सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलपमेंटची प्रोसेस स्टार्ट केलेली आहे. लाईक दॅट. त्यांनी काय म्हटलं, त्यांनी काय सांगितलं होतं की युजर नेम फील्ड मध्ये ओनली मोबाईल नंबर घ्यायला पाहिजे असं सांगितलं होतं पहिल्यांदा रिक्वायरमेंट मध्ये. सो ऍज पर दॅट वी आर गॅदर्ड इन्फॉर्मेशन, अनलाइज दॅट इन्फॉर्मेशन, डिझाईन बनवला आणि कोडिंगला स्टार्ट केलं. पण त्यांनी काय म्हटलं मध्येच की ओके, वी नीड टू अप्लाय द ईमेल ऑल्सो इन द युजर नेम फील्ड. राईट, युजर नेम फील्ड मध्ये जसं आपण पहिले फक्त रिक्वायरमेंट मध्ये काय होतं, मोबाईल नंबर एक्सेप्टेड आहे, पण ते काय म्हणतात आता इन द कोडिंग फेज मध्ये असताना की आम्हाला तिथे ईमेल पण ऍड करायचं आहे, अशी एक रिक्वायरमेंट घेऊन आले. ते चेंज करतायत, रिक्वायरमेंट अपडेट करतायत. सो वेन एव्हर वी आर युझिंग द वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल, वी आर नॉट एक्सेप्टिंग दॅट चेंज रिक्वेस्ट बिकॉज already we have started the working on that particular requirement and we are at the coding stage. So we are not go to back towards the design analysis and gather that information. So that type of this requirement we can cover into the next releases. Whenever we are completing this task and we are releasing that particular things, after that in the next releases we can update that requirement, or we can use that particular requirement. Okay, so that waterfall model is not accepting any change requests or during the software development process because we are not able to go back towards the previous stages, right? So that it's called as the waterfall model. Okay, we are not accepting any change requests in the waterfall model. One thing,
अगर कंपनी रिक्वायरमेंट्स को सेटिस्फैक्शन नहीं करती तो फिर कस्टमर्स how to go ahead.
So that if the customer want to change the requirement in between the software development processes, so that we need to update our software development process, that will be go towards the another methodology. Okay, if we are using waterfall model, we have decided that if we are using the waterfall model, at that time we are not accepting any change requests during the software development processes.
दैट मीन्स वाटरफॉल मॉडल्स जो भी मेथोडोलॉजी है ये कंपनी डिसाइड करती है, क्योंकि वो कस्टमर्स को तो पता नहीं कि कौन सा मॉडल्स या क्या मेथोडोलॉजी यूज करनी है.
यस, कि जैसे हम डिस्कस करते हैं कस्टमर के साथ, उनको हमें पता चलता है कि उनका रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, कि उनको कैसा चाहिए. दिस मॉडल मोस्टली यूज रिलेटेड टू आवर प्रोडक्ट बेस्ड कंपनी. दैट मीन्स इफ वी हैव ओन प्रोडक्ट, अभी हमारा एक प्रोडक्ट है, अभी हमारा खुद का एक प्रोडक्ट है, उस प्रोडक्ट पे हम जब काम करते हैं तो नॉर्मली वी आर यूजिंग दिस टाइप ऑफ द मेथोडोलॉजी लाइक वाटरफॉल मॉडल बिकॉज वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट वी आर प्रोवाइडिंग द प्रोडक्ट, सो द कस्टमर रिक्वायरमेंट कैन नॉट बी चेंजेस multiple times within the whenever we develop in the software, right? So that at that time, whether when we use the waterfall model, whether the customer changes are very less, okay, they are not coming they are not coming with the requirement multiple times, and they can say that we need to update that, we need to update that, we need to update that. So that type of these things, ज्या ठिकाणी अशा टाईपच्या गोष्टी ऍप्लिकेबल नसतात त्या वेळेस आपण फक्त वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल यूज करतो. ओके, ज्या ठिकाणी रिक्वायरमेंट खूप कमी येतात किंवा खूप कमी वेळेस आपल्याला डिप्लॉयमेंट पाहिजे असतं, या केसमध्ये आपण काय करतो, वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल यूज करतो. ओके,
that means which kind of information or requirements of customers, depending upon that methodology also choose by the company.
yes.
Okay,
If suppose you are working on the Amazon model, okay, you are working with the Amazonचा सॉफ्टवेअर तुम्ही डेव्हलप करत आहात आणि तुम्ही म्हणताय की वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल यूज करतायत. सो सपोज देर इज टुमॉरो इज द दिवाळी, ओके, इन द नेक्स्ट वीक देर विल बी द दिवाळी and we can say that, oh, we are using the waterfall model, we are not providing that updated offers on that, we are not providing any deployment related to the offers, right? तर तुम्ही ऑफर वगैरे अप्लाय नाही करत आहेत किंवा नवीन प्रोडक्ट तुम्ही लॉन्च नाही करत आहेत अमेझॉन मध्ये, तर त्या केसमध्ये इथे युजफुल आहे का हे मेथोडॉलॉजी वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल? बिकॉज हिअर आर कंटिन्युअसली चेंजिंग द रिक्वायरमेंट. आपण पाहतो की डे बाय डे त्याच्यामध्ये ऑफर्स चेंज होत आहेत, मटेरियल्स चेंज होत आहेत, स्ट्रक्चर चेंज होत आहे, राईट? Amazon मध्ये कसं डेली बेसिस वरती काही ना काही अपडेट आपल्याला पाहायला मिळते. So in that case we are using the waterfall model. Is it a reliable model? No sir. In that case we are not using the waterfall model, right? So वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल आपण कधी यूज करतो की ऍज पर द कस्टमर रिक्वायरमेंट. इथे कस्टमरची रिक्वायरमेंट डेली बेसिस अपडेट आहे, राईट? इन इच मंथ त्यांना रिलीज पाहिजे आहे. दॅट केस वी आर नॉट युजिंग द वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल. समजतंय आपण कधी वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल यूज करू शकतो?
ओके सर.
सर नाही समजलं सर.
नाही समजलं अतुल?
नाही सर.
Okay. Suppose so the waterfall model is a linear sequential model which is used to develop any software. In that we are going linearly. That means once one step will be completed, at that time only we are starting the next stage of the software development process, and we are not able to go back to the previous stage. If the customer will be change the requirement in between the any development stage, at that time we are not accepting that change request, because earlierly we are completed the some stages. That means we are not able to go back to the previous stages, right? So the time duration of the waterfall model will be the 3 months, and in that we are not accepting any change request during the software development process. If we are on the testing phase and customer want to change the requirement, at that time we are not accepting that change request, because we have completed the earlier stages for that. So how we can tackle that situation? So we can consider that requirement into the next releases. Okay, in the next releases, like that we are completing our task. How we can complete the task? We are completing one phase first, and then we move towards the next phase. Why it is required 3 months? Because the time duration for to the each phase that will be fixed, so that it will take the time to develop the software. In that we are taking the multiple requirements at a time in the each phase. Okay, so once that phase will be complete, then only we are starting to the going towards the next phase. So what exactly they can say? So waterfall model is a step-by-step implementation of SDLC process. In that, just a second. We are using waterfall model. At that time, how we can tackle with that? So in waterfall model, when the tester found any bug, then he do not send the product back to the developers. Instead of doing that, tester logs the bugs, make report, and then those bugs get fixed into the next version of the product. So some companies follows that की नेक्स्ट रिलीज मध्ये जेव्हा नेक्स्ट अपडेटेड मॉडेल येतं किंवा अपडेटेड बिल्ड येते, त्याच्यामध्ये आपल्याला त्यांचं नवीन फिक्सेशन अवेलेबल होतं. ओके, सो ऍट दॅट टाइम वी कॅन फिक्सिंग दॅट इश्यूज सिमिलर टू दॅट. लाईक सपोज आपल्याला काय झालेलं आहे, एखादा इश्यू मिळालेला आहे, आपण काय केला, तो लॉक केलेला आहे, आपल्याला कळलेलं आहे की इथे इश्यू आहे. ओके, इथे इश्यू आहे, सो वी नीड टू लॉक दॅट डिफेक्ट. At that time we can fix that bug. We are not directly says to that directly to the coder. We need to file that bug into the Jira or into the Jira or to the HPLM tool. Okay, so that tool will be the bug tracking tools. So in that we can file that bug, assign that to the developers and fixing that issues, and that deployment will be comes from to the development team to the testing team, like that. So whenever the next build will be available, that fixation will be available in that next build, Okay, so in that way we can testing or we can developing the software into the waterfall model. ओके, तर कसं आहे त्याच्यामध्ये की वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल मध्ये ज्यावेळेस आपल्याला बग मिळतो तो आपण रेज करतो, आणि तो काय करतो, रेज केल्यानंतर तो असाइन करतो डेव्हलपरला. डेव्हलपर काय फिक्स करणार आणि पुन्हा तो बग काय करणार, ते कोड डिप्लॉय करणार टेस्टिंग एन्व्हायरमेंटला. सो लाईक दॅट वी कॅन फिक्सिंग द इश्यूज इन टू द वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल. ओके, सो दिस इज द वॉटरफॉल मॉडेल. In that, how we can develop the software by using the waterfall model. The duration for that waterfall model will be the 3 months, and in the step by step we are going towards the each development process. Okay, each development stages. So that's it all about the waterfall model. If